Hi, this is Bob Hatton again. Nice that you tuned in for another edition of Encouraging Words. I hope you're all doing well and I hope you're enjoying these devotions that we're doing together. Today we come to Acts chapter 7. And Acts chapter 7 is more or less a sermon that Stephen preached in front of the in front of the Jewish authorities. Now, Stephen was one of the 7 men who were appointed to attend to the tables of the widows in chapter 6. And in the end of chapter 6, it seems that it seems that Stephen is full of power, he's full of the Holy Spirit, he's full of faith, and signs and wonders are happening, and he has a very strong preaching ministry. He's arrested, and now he answers to the authorities. And so this is the longest sermon that we have in the book of Acts, and it's Peter. He's doing biblical theology. He's telling the story of Israel. He's telling the story of Israel's destiny, how God called Abraham, how God used Moses to bring the people out of Egypt, and then about Jesus and how God sent Jesus and what happened to him, that he was crucified but that he rose from the dead. And this is Stephen telling these Jewish authorities that Israel is a nation, is a country with a destiny from God. And I think this is very exciting and very interesting. We could also think about the prophecies that are in the Old Testament about Jesus. He tells us where he was going to be born, for instance, the Messiah was going to be born in Bethlehem. It tells us that he would be a descendant of Abraham, but Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. And then we find out that Jesus was to come out of the tribe of Judah. And then within the tribe of Judah, he would come from the house of David. And this Jesus, he meets all these requirements. We find his genealogy in the Bible, where he can trace his way back. His lineage can be traced back to Abraham. Now, this is important because 70 AD, the temple and Jerusalem were destroyed, and it wouldn't have been possible, or it isn't possible since this date, since 70 AD, to prove your lineage, which tribe you belong to in the context of of Israel. Everything was destroyed. Jesus could prove that he was from David, Judah, Jacob, Isaac and Abraham. But there are other things in there as well, that he would be born in Bethlehem, I said, but that he would come from Egypt. And of course, Jesus, he fled with his family. His family took him from Bethlehem to Egypt as a refugee, and then later they moved back to Nazareth, also a prophecy. We see that he's going to work with signs and wonders, also a prophet. We also see that the Messiah is going to be male, because in Isaiah chapter 9, he says, and a son is given to you, a child is given, a son is born, and it shows us that he's going to be a male. Signs and wonders. It shows us what he would say. There's prophecies about the things that he would say. There's prophecies about the things that he would do, the way that he would die, what happened around the cross. And in all, there's 322 different prophecies that tell us what the Messiah is going to be like. Jesus was a person of destiny. He was born, and God had a plan with his life, a very unique plan, of course, what nobody else could fulfill. Now, do you know that you are also a person of destiny, that God has got a plan for your life? Have a look at Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 10. And Paul says there that we are his masterpiece. We have been created to do good works that God has already prepared for us. He's got a plan. He's got stuff for us to do. We are people of destiny. Now, let me just give you a short illustration, a story from my life. When I was a young man, I had the feeling that God was calling me into service for him. I had a desire to serve God. And at that time, the only way I knew how to serve God was by going to Bible school. So I was getting ready to be discharged from the army, and I applied to one English Bible school, and they rejected me and said all the places are taken, come back next year. I applied to another one, same story, and then to a third one, same story. So I even applied to a Bible school in Canada, but that was more or less the same story. And then the family of my wife's family suggested I should apply to the German Bible school. Surely they will take you. I was rejected there as well. They said, come back next year. So I thought, well, I'll have to wait another year. I'm a bit too late. So I did apply for a job working in a car factory on the conveyor belt. And they didn't reject me. They accepted me, and they said, as soon as you're discharged from the army, come and we'll give you a job. So that was some perspective what I had. And as a few weeks went by, I suddenly got a letter from the German Bible College. And the German Bible College said, hey, we've got some places, some free places. If you're still interested, you can come in September, and you can be you can go to Bible school in this year. So that was great news. What had happened? Well, there was a group of Bible school students at the German Bible School who came from Chile. They were ethnic Germans, and their ancestors, maybe 2 or 3 generations previously, they had emigrated to Chile. And they were working there in some churches, but they wanted to come to Germany to get some training. So they were studying at the Bible College, and then during the summer break, they'd gone home to work in the churches. In the meanwhile, there was a coup in Chile, and the president was deposed, and a new government took over power. It's quite a strict government, a military government, and they said no Chilean person can leave the country for the time being anyways, and this lasted for a few months. And these group of students, they wrote to the Bible school and says, we're very sorry, but we cannot come, we're stuck in the country, we cannot come to finish our studies. So the Bible school wrote to me and said there's some place free. Now what had happened? If I hadn't have got this letter, if these places hadn't have been free, then I would probably have gone in the next year to a Bible school in England, because that was my mother language, and I was more at home in the English culture than in the German culture, and that would have been my way. But God had a different plan, and God was prepared to move world situations to accommodate the plan that he had for me. He brought Mary from Nazareth to Bethlehem to be in the right place so that the Messiah could be born, by changing world happenings, with things that were happening in the world. We are people of destiny. God's hand is upon us, and God uses us. That's a challenge for you, to discover and continue to discover little bits of the plan that God has got for you, going step by step forward in your life. I challenge you with that. I challenge you to have a look at that. And otherwise, I hope you have a good day. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bob Hatton.